Okay, so I'm about to install the rocker arms for the engine, and I just thought I'd show you this before I do that. So I've sent these away to be refurbished. These are from a 964. Got brand new bronze bushes. And yeah, so this is one of the areas of a 911 engine that's prone to a lot of wear. So your old ones, often the profile will change and you'll get a lot of pitting. Let me show you a bad one. Okay, so these are from the last engine that I did. So this is from cylinder number 6, and it is the exhaust rocker arm. So I'm not sure if you can see that. If I move that through the light, I'm not sure if you can see the actual side profile there, but it is actually sort of hogged out here. It's actually gone concave. And this is the intake valve, which is actually worse, from the same cylinder number 6. But if you look at that, just trying to catch it in the light. I also make sure that the adjusters can screw in easily, all the way in and all the way out, so the threads are nice and clean, because one of the things that happens is people over tighten and it damages the threads. So it's important to make sure that these are perfect. If I put one of the shafts in, look, it's a nice snug, I mean, once it's in, it's perfect, but like I can feel the absolute tiniest amount of rock there, but look at that, it's not tight at all, right? So it comes in and out, but the clearance is perfect. But yeah, so I get these done by John Doherty over in the United States. So Doherty Racing Camshafts, he's the guy that supplies me the cams and does all of my rocker arm work. So yeah, that's who I use. All right, time to stick a couple of these in the engine. Well, here we are. What have you missed? Not much. I've installed the rocker arms for intake and exhaust for cylinders number 1 and also for cylinder number 4. And I've set my valve clearances, and I've also just fitted up my digital degree wheel indicator doodad. And I'm about to check my camshaft timing. I haven't done it yet. I thought I'd bring you along for the ride. In order to set top dead center, I mean, you can just use the mark on the pulley if you want to. But it's just all about having a nice, accurate, repeatable system. So I use a top dead center indicator to set top dead center on number 1. And then once I've done that, I zero off my degree wheel, and I know that every time I rotate, I don't need to worry about looking at it from this angle or looking at it from this angle, which, as you know, is called parallax error. And if you're cross-eyed, well, maybe if you're cross-eyed it cancels each other out, I don't know. But anyway, let's just see what my camshaft timing is. So I'm set up on the wrong side at the moment. So let's switch this over to number 1. I've got 0.1 of a mil lash located in here, and I'm aiming for 2 millimeters of valve lift on the overlap stroke, on the compression stroke. So I've zeroed off the dial gauge, and let's rotate over and see what we get. Now, I don't know whether you can see that nice and clearly. I can, but and of course I'm rotating it, and the bloody degree wheel is not working. Fuck's sake. Awesome. So a little bit of a catch up, I don't know, I think it's a couple of days later, and what it turned out to be was the actual cable in between the two. So I took it to a friend and he pulled it all apart, got rid of the cable and soldered on some nice new ones, and so now we're back in order. Okay, so where we're at is I've got both camshafts installed. The keyways, or the dots, are pointing up on both of them, and I've got the locating pins in, everything's locked down. My Stomsky chain tensioners are in there for setting my camshaft timing, so I've got a nice tight tension on the chains. And my degree wheel is plugged in. I've just got it sitting on this ledge here, just so I can, it's just a piece of steel that's bolted on, so it's magnetic, because everything else is aluminium and it won't stick. Now I've zeroed off the degree wheel, I've just eyeballed it on the pulley, and what I'm going to do is just rotate it backwards by about, I don't know, 10 or 15 degrees. And I think you can see on the display there. All right, so this is to set top dead center. So now that I've done that, I'm going to use my top dead center tool. So I'm going to just wind that out so there's no chance of it interfering with a piston. I'm going to screw that into the spark plug hole. All right, so that's in snug. Can you see that on the screen? Oh yes, you can. So now we just wind this in. It's just going to hit the top of the piston. So remember, we've wound it back from top dead center, so the piston's down in the cylinder a little bit. So that's just touching. We don't want to screw it in there really hard, we just want it to touch. We're now going to lock that off. It doesn't have to be tight, just snug. So now, if I rotate the engine backwards again, so now the piston's going to go down a little bit further. See, I can go backwards. I'm going to go clockwise now until I hit the stop. I'm just going to zero it. I'm just going to do this a couple of times just to make sure I get to the zero. So I'm 0.1 of a degree off, so go back again. Right. So I'm not sure if you can see on the pulley here, but I'm still well before top dead center, of course, so the piston's down. So what we're going to do now is we're going to rotate it anti-clockwise, because I've zeroed this off, and we'll get the piston to go down and then back the other way. We'll just do this slowly because I just want to make sure I don't undo the bolt on my crankshaft pulley, because that would be a pain in the arse.
But we are working against a couple of valve springs, etc.
Okay, so that's now hitting the stop. All right, so we're at 332.9. So the way that we calculate top dead center, remember that's 332.9, so I'm going to zero it. So I'm not sure if you can see, you should be able to see this in the screen. 360 minus 332.9 equals 27.1 divided by 2, 13.55. What I need to do now is to remove the top dead center tool. And then we need to rotate the engine anti-clockwise 13.55 degrees. Now, of course, my box only has 1 decimal place, so I'm at 13.5, and I'm going to zero that. So that is my calculated top dead center. And I will just move the camera. Look, if you look at the pulley, to be honest, it looks exactly spot on. I'll just get a torch. So I'm not sure whether that's visible there, but the center line, like from where I'm standing, I believe I'm standing right behind it. It looks pretty much spot on with the pulley mark as well. But using the digital readout just means that every time we go to calculate, we go to rotate or whatever, we know we're going to get to exactly the same position. We're not relying on parallax error, because parallax error is if I was standing to the left of the pulley and we were looking at it this way, obviously I'm exaggerating here, then we would think, okay, well that's not lined up, so we'd rotate the pulley to fit. Or if I was standing a little bit to the right, or if I was cross-eyed, it'd probably cancel each other out, but anyway. So we're at top dead center, we're on the power stroke on that one, so we can start on this side here. So my valve clearances have been set to 0.1 of a mil. We'll do the right-hand side. What we're aiming for is 2 millimeters of lift on the dial indicator. So let's rotate. We'll see where we are. Right, so I'm at 0, so I'm at top dead center, and I've only got 0.57 millimeters of lift. So we are very, very, very retarded by 1.5. So what I need to do is keep rotating until we get to the 2 millimeters of lift. As you can see, 17 degrees on the crank. So we use our special socket here, our tool to hold the sprockets. I might just put a mark in there so you can see where I've got the locating pin. So this is where I've got the locating pin at the moment. Right, just had to loosen that off. Should be able to pull it out by hand now. So I'm just going to use an M5 threaded bolt just to screw into that and pull it out. Okay, so there's a bit of tension on that. Now as you can see, or I think you can see, the camshaft is still showing me, the valve is still at 2 millimeters of lift. Now I should be able to rotate the engine back towards top dead centre, and because the pin's pulled, the sprocket should just rotate on the nose of the cam without that changing. So let's see. So you can see I'm going back here. I'm going to go a little bit further past it, and then I'm going to go clockwise, because that's the way the engine rotates. It'll take up the slack in all the componentry the correct way. Right, so I'm at 0 here and 2 millimeters there. Let's see where the pin will go this time. So you see, that's the hole it was in before. It won't go in. It's going to be somewhere around here, I think, or here. There we go. So it just goes straight in there. This bolt and our washer back in. Now there's no way this is going to line up, because it's a bit of trial and error with this. It might look good now, but as I go to tighten it up, I guarantee you that's going to move, or that's going to move, or whatnot. Far out. Well, as you can see, it says 1.96, but let's rotate it twice. So I'm at 0 here and I'm at 1.91. The range for these cams is between 1.8 and 2. I am aiming for 2. So let's go again. So let's get this up to, so it says I'm about 1 degree off on the crank. So what I probably need to do now is, instead of having this at 0, I'll have this at -1. I'll go back a little bit. So let's loosen it off. And again, it's not so critical, the range, it's more the evenness from left to right. So whatever we do on the right, we've got to have the same on the left. Now I don't think the pin's going to move actually. Let me see. I mean, you shouldn't have to move the pin a second time. It probably, there's enough slack inside each location there for a bit of readjustment. So let me just, okay, I'm going to go back. I'm now going to get it up to 2. All right, so I'm at 2 millimeters on the cam. Now I'm going to back this off to be 358. Well, actually, I was going to show you how much there is on here, how far back I can go here before it starts to affect. So I've gone to 359, just 359, and it hasn't moved. 358, and that still hasn't moved, because that's because of the slack in the pin. There you go, it's just started to move there. So just under 358 is when it started to move. So let's get back to the 2 millimeters of lift, and let's go to 350. We'll go to 359. Okay. Now let's see if I can tighten this up, and so that I'm trying to allow for my error. I'm trying to build it into the adjustment. So let's just take up the slack. Oh, I don't know where I am on this because things moved. So sometimes I can time camshafts in one go, and sometimes it takes me 10.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, there you go. I'm at 0 here, and I'm at 1.99 there. So I'm just going to pull the camera off because I can't be bothered editing this. So I'm at 0 on the crankshaft, so that's top dead center. And I'm at 1.99 of lift on the valve. So as far as I'm concerned, that's well within specifications. That's 1.99. So now I need to do the other side. So we're at top dead center, so all I need to do now is pull this tool off. And also I just wanted to remind you that I didn't need to relocate the pin. Once you've got it dialed in pretty close, you just need to loosen the bolt or the nut. You do not need to remove the pin again. It's just a waste of time. Okay, so I've rearranged everything. I'm pretty sure you can read that. Okay, you can read that okay. So let's rotate 360 degrees and let's see where this one is. Oh, I think the left side's going to be way over. Oh yeah. Okay. We already know we're way over it, so I need to go back a little bit. Let's get to the 2 millimeters. Right, so I'm at 2 millimeters of lift on the left there. Not very tight because we just in this. So we do have to pull this out because we're going to have to rotate it a fair bit. Again, I'll just mark that's where the pin is now. Try and pull him out. Sometimes if there's a bit of pressure on there, you just have to put a bit of pressure on the crankshaft. I know that can be pretty easy. So let's now rotate the crankshaft forwards towards top dead center. Notice that does not move. Now I think I was about a degree behind, so let's go back a bit. Let's go to 359. So that's where the pin was the first time. This time, I don't think it's going to move too far. This one or one over? I can actually see the teeth in that one. I think it's this one here. It's just not quite got a gap in it. Let me get my torch and double check. It's between this one. Oh, it is that one, okay. So that's only moved one tooth. That's quite interesting, isn't it? I'll just let you think about that from how many teeth we had to move the pin on the last one. It moved like almost 60 degrees, and here we only had to move it one spot. Oh, damn it, I really wanted to get it in that one go. Oh, fuck. Sorry for the profanities. It's a part of the job. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be anywhere near where I want to be. But the only way to find out is to rotate the crank. So let's get out of the camera view. Oh, how far away? Yeah, look at that. I'm at 359.1, which is where I set it, and it's exactly 2 millimeters. So for whatever reason on this side, I didn't need the buffer. So I need to do it again. Well, let's just see how far off is that timing. If I go back to if I go to the full 360 on this on the crank, 2.09 millimeters. So yeah, that's a bit too much of a discrepancy. Well, let's not pull that out again. Let's just let's see what happens. Let's go wind it back, get it down to. All right, so let's wind up. Going forwards now, we're going to aim for that 2 millimeters. And let's keep an eye on the crank. So we're at. Right, so I'm at 359.7. So because I want to rotate the crankshaft further and I'm already at 2 millimeters there, that means that I've taken up all the slack that's in that pin location, and I'm not going to be able to account for that. But what sort of a discrepancy does that give me? So if I was to somehow be able to lock it in without anything moving, if that went to 360, I'm trying to rotate. Oh, 2.02. For the sake of the exercise, let's aim for ridiculous sorts of perfection here. Right, we're at 2 millimeters there. Let's pull that pin out. I'm going to mark it just so I remember where it was. So it was here. That's upper level 2 there. I'm assuming it's going to need to go to that next spot over. Won't come out. I think I need to back it off just a little bit. There we go. I just backed off the crankshaft by, I don't know, half a degree or so. So now we're going to rotate until we get to 360. Right, so remember last time we went to 359 and I jammed it into that number 2 spot. So let's see if it goes to this one now. Yep, look, it just slips into the next spot nice and easy. All right, so that's its home. Now because there's no slack, because there is now slop in the fit, I am going to wind back the crankshaft a little bit. And see the cam's gone down, so now I'm going to get up to the 2 millimeters on the valve. I'm as far as 2.5 degrees on the crank, so now we can back off the crank. How far can I go? I don't think it was very far actually. I'm at 359.5. Let's see what happens at 359.5. So these studs. Okay, well the camera shut itself off because it overheated after 20 minutes of running. It's a GoPro in the middle of winter, so go figure. And I'm only recording this in, was it 2.7K, if that means anything. Anyway, let's see where we are.
Go rotate this. I hate it when there's a break in continuity of work because then you've got to figure out where you were again.
And filming this stuff is a bit of a pain, but some people like it. But do they like it enough to give me a thumbs up down the bottom? I hope so. Oh, see, I'm talking and not concentrating, so let's go to 360. Ooh, get out of town. Look at that. I'm at 0 degrees, top dead center, and I'm at exactly 2 millimeters of lift. Now look, this is all, there's all sorts of errors in here. Well, potentially there's all sorts of errors in here. There could be errors in my valve clearance. So, you know, it relies on you setting a 0.1 millimeter of lash on either side. That relies on the camshafts being ground exactly the same. It relies on the profile of the rocker arms being exactly the same. There's so many things that could be erroneous, but my theory is that if you aim for perfection where you can, then even if you do miss, you're going to be very, very, very close to your initial target. So I try to aim for perfection wherever I can. So we're at 2 millimeters on the left. Let's just quickly swap the tool to the right, and hopefully the camera won't shut itself off again. It's not the battery getting hot. I could put a new battery in, but it's actually the camera getting hot. And it's only 20 odd degrees in here, and admittedly there's no airflow because it's so cold outside, but I wouldn't have thought it would shut itself off so quickly. I think GoPro need to make a better camera, considering how many they sell. Now it was 1.99 when we first did it. I mean, it should be the same, but again, there's lots of slack and slop. Let's go for one revolution, go to 360 on this side. $350. Oh, it just rolled back a tenth of a degree. But if I hold it, look, I'm holding pressure on it just to keep it at 0 there, but you can see I'm at 2 millimeters on the right. So if everything's set correctly, if the tension on either side of the chains is exactly the same, then I'm exactly 2 millimeters on the left and 2 millimeters of lift on the right. You cannot get any better than that. So I do put a lot of time into my camshaft timing, and let's just hope it all works out. But what I'm going to do now as an experiment is I'm going to remove these Stomsky chain tensioners, these manual adjusters, and I'm going to put the actual oil-fed Carrera chain tensioners in there, and I'm going to see whether there's a difference, because obviously there'll be different pressure. So yeah, let's see. I'm just going to stop the video so it doesn't overheat. Okay, we're back. As you can see, I've installed the original oil-fed chain tensioner. You can see that the plunger is nicely snugged down inside the housing, so it's not sticking out. I'll try to insert a photo of how it was when I pulled it apart, if I have one. But yeah, there's plenty of space between the top of the arm and the box there. So let's see. I haven't changed anything apart from that. So let's rotate the crank. See how we go. Now, I'm interested to know if it makes a difference, because if it doesn't really make a difference, then it kind of suggests that those mechanical adjusters are probably not worth investing in. 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, there you go. It's exactly 2 millimeters and 0. Let's pull it across to the other side. Again, we're aiming for 2.00 at 360 degrees, 20, 30, 40, 50. There you go. 1.99. So very, very, very tiny discrepancy there. And again, maybe when I had the mechanical tensioner set up, maybe I had a little bit more tension set up on one side than the other. But I believe in running conditions, that even though there's no oil pumping to the tensioners right now, I do believe that the amount of tension that's on there is correct. But I think the oil just provides a damper. But yeah, look, I'm very, very happy with that. So again, I spend a lot of time with my camshaft timing. Let me just turn the radio off. I do spend a lot of time with my camshaft timing, and I do aim to be as accurate as I believe I can be. I don't believe you can get any more accurate than that. Again, the rest of it's now down to how well the cams have ground and how good the profile is on the rocker arms. So yeah, I'm at basically 2mm on the left and right. If you thought any of this was useful, please do me a favour and hit the like button and share the video. Drop a comment down the bottom, it all helps.